Okay, first things first. Australia trip. We just got back from Australia. The main purpose being to go on cold ones and to deliver Max some Pokemon cards. And to just take a vacation. So, I mean, it was like a multi-tiered
Faceted.
trip. Didn't go on cold ones. They were too busy. We
Did see the frog suit
frog soon.
and the toys that Chad had acquired.
True. A lot of stimming toys in the office.
Oh, yeah. But I'm talking about, like, big toys. I don't think they've put the videos out, but...
Yeah, that'll probably air months from now. I
Right.
talked to them. I asked, I think it was Chad who I asked. I said, how many videos are you behind? And he said, like, 8.
No, not behind.
Not behind, ahead.
Ahead.
Yeah. They're filmed.
Yeah.
They're just not, like, edited or whatever.
Yeah.
Or some of them are. I thought that was crazy.
Yeah. He said that their goal is to always have 6 in the chamber.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, like, they're
Yeah.
going.
Zooting through it.
Zoot suiting through it.
Yeah. They should do an episode.
Max in
like,
a zoot suit would look so
well,
good.
I was thinking specifically the mask themed episode. By the way, when Chad and I went to get IVs, this is unrelated to like a cold ones filming. I had a bad time drinking wise in Australia, and I was doing a lot of vomiting, and I couldn't keep water down. So
Which has happened before.
it has happened
I
before.
also think, okay, one of the comments that we got on our first podcast was that there's a lot of people that are watching that, like,
Don't know the context of things.
don't know the lore, which is crazy to think about. But I do think we should clarify the lore of, like, who Max and Chad are.
Okay.
I know the majority of people know who Max
Yeah.
and Chad are, but we should, just to clarify.
Okay. So, yeah, I'll do this. I'll handle this. So Max is a friend of I don't know how many years. Basically, a few years after, or a year after I got some traction on YouTube. Max was around. I think I first started seeing his like tweets, and he would tweet things at me related to my Kickstarter crap videos. He would say the waste, which was this like, I don't know, Scottish or British guy who was making like a post-apocalyptic game, and just a bunch of other random memes. And that was funny, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. This guy seems to either be bullying me or interested in the content.
Both
We'll
you
see.
and Max do that. When we were first talking, I couldn't tell if you were bullying me or if you liked
Yeah.
interacting with me.
It's kind of fucked up.
It's fucked up.
In any case, Max and I visited Australia. That was like the first time I was like doing a big trip like that. I did it alone and met up with Max and George George, aka Filthy Frank.
AKA Joji.
Yeah. In Australia, in Perth. And yeah, we filmed some collab videos, and kind of the rest is history. Where Chad is in all of this is Chad was always like a friend, or as long as I knew him, he was always like a friend to Max. And Chad was, I think, a little bit like more volatile than he is today. Back in the day, he was just
anything for
a little
views.
bit, yeah, by the seat of his pants. Went by a lot of things, monk rage, anything for views, fat cunt, a lot of things. So Chad had always just been around in videos, sort of the meat man, the
funniest
punching bag in some ways.
clip to ever come out of any videos that you guys have made together was you throwing the ball of fire, the tennis ball of fire, on his like clearly highly flammable cotton balls because he was supposed to be
Yes.
Donkey Kong,
That-
and you called him a Mounchie.
Yeah.
And you threw the fireball at him, and I that was one of the few
Yeah.
times that I have cried laughing at a video. It genuinely, if I were to
I'm
watch
glad it was
today-
worth it. Like all of the danger and everything
But
made it worth it.
This is the insane part about that, though. Ian did not. There was no way to put out the fire. You guys didn't have anything.
There
with
was a
you.
way.
Well, you after the fact found out that there was water.
No, we didn't. After that was the whole plan.
Okay, the first time
the problem is you can't tell someone I'm going to light you on fire, and the way you put yourself out is traipsing, 20 yards to a water hole. Like that's a bad idea.
So fucked up.
But I will like to talk about this more like at length someday publicly with Chad and Max, because they'd be the ones to talk with us about.
No, you're right.
In any case, Chad was always like kind of that character in the videos. He'd kind of do whatever was asked. I remember one time, I think it was for the second Deadly Twister, we also spray painted him black and white as like, instead of wearing a shirt, ref shirt or whatever, we just spray paint on his raw body. So that was funny. And yeah, I mean, since then, a lot has happened. I think most notably COVID happened, and then like all travel to Australia fucking stopped. Because the last time I traveled there, we filmed like a stupid roadkill video, but I got deathly ill, and we suspect that I was maybe one of the first COVID cases.
Because it was before, okay, so here's the thing.
It was diagnosed as flu B.
Right.
When I was in Australia, when I went to the emergency place, they were like, oh, this is flu B.
But Ian, when he goes to Australia, at least he used to stop off in China and then go from China to Australia.
Yeah.
And that was one of those times where I remember you texting me and being like, I'm in the food court in the airport in China, which I feel like at the time, like that was like right before.
No. That one, I didn't take a connecting flight to China.
No, you definitely did.
I did not. I 100% did
really?
not. No. I've done that once, and I was like, this shit sucks ass.
So you
never going to do it again. It doesn't matter, though. The case still applies. I think there was this guy. I don't know if that was a flight or not. There was one flight where a guy was just heaving next to me.
Yeah.
Just going crazy.
Well, so Ian phoned me when he was in Australia when he got deathly ill, and he said to me, he was like, how do you treat heat stroke? And I said to him, I was like, you have to keep your like blood and shit cold, like put a ice pack on the back of your neck or on your forehead. And he goes, well, but that's going to make my shivers worse. And I was like, I don't think you have heat stroke. You were so sick, you went to the hospital because you could not get...
It kind of sucked, though, because when I went to the hospital, it was like I was winding down.
Yeah.
Which I feel like happens all too often.
I know.
Where you're getting sick, and you're like, all right, finally time to go. This is horrible. And then you're like healing. You're healed when you're at the hospital.
Yeah.
When you're like sitting on the gurney, you're like, I definitely don't have to be here now. And then you get a bill. So I guess that is generally the history.
Yeah,
like
you were called the Cancer Crew. You were beloved.
Term.
There was things that you did on Max's channel, on George's channel, yours, and you all have like a very obvious deep connection because your roots came from YouTube, and you hadn't seen Max and Chad or George for 4 years, something like that.
Yeah.
3 years, 4 years?
Yeah. Longer for George, probably.
Yeah.
They live
in Australia.
What was the topic? We were talking about... we were trying to give context to Max and Chad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it was a big catching up trip, basically. I think that's about all there is to say. We needed to hang out and, get some time in, and we did. I think they're really busy right now with, like, grog.
Yeah.
And cold ones.
Right when PAX, we landed when PAX was happening, and they were the, like, big...
PAX
grog
sponsor.
was the big PAX sponsor,
Yeah.
So it was like... And, there's other things going on, and you just, I don't know, I could tell that you guys just wanted to hang out, and you ended up, so the reason why him and Chad did the IV was because Ian told me he had 4 drinks, but Chad called him to check on him in the morning and said he had 8.
Yeah.
I
know that sounds weak as hell for anyone who drinks out there, but let me just say this. I don't do a whole lot of drinking. I'm fucking 38.
What? No.
Basically.
Ian's
in my
34.
years. You know how they say as a president, you age faster because of all the stress and shit? Like,
Yeah.
Obama got gray hairs in 1 year.
Yeah.
He was out. He was done. Same thing for a YouTuber, especially a YouTuber going through it. Okay? So, I'm 38 in YouTuber years.
Okay.
No, fuck that. I'm 46 in YouTuber years. So, yeah, I can't handle my liquor like I used to. But, yeah, we just had, I mean, it wasn't crazy. How To Basic said I should sue Grog. He was like, I think you could get a settlement for that. I reckon you got a bad batch. I was like, all right, dude.
This has happened before too.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just my main problem is I don't stay hydrated while I'm drinking.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think when we do cold ones eventually, if it is in a format like sitting there and drinking, which to be honest, I'm like hesitant about. I think I would just get an IV while I'm drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because that shit's rough.
The first time this happened, Ian went on a hike with his best friend and his best friend's brother, and then his best friend's brother was like, "I make a mean Moscow Mule." Mm-hmm. And so Ian went on a hike in California, didn't drink water, and then went and drank a Moscow Mule, and then came home and was like, "This is gonna be fine."
Yeah. Well, and then I was convinced. I was like, "Oh man, that
Food poisoning.
that carne asada burrito at that Mexican restaurant last night had some stank in it." I'm like, "Oh no, I got food poisoning." Just kept vomiting. Water wouldn't stay down. Gatorade wouldn't stay down.
Little sips,
But I was
too.
kind of happy about that, so I was like embracing the vomit because that's sort of my thing. Kind of the inverse of Anisa is when I have a bad feeling in my stomach, I'm like, perfect. All I need to do is expel it, and then I'll be feeling like a king.
You love vomiting.
Well,
You love it.
I love it when it works. Lately, it hasn't been working. Like when we were on this trip. Spoiler alert: I vomited a ton.
Yeah.
And I wasn't feeling any better. It was like every 30 minutes, I would need to vomit again. So long as I was drinking fluids, so it was like fluids just wouldn't stay down. I'm like, this shit is like.
And it was
rough.
slow. It was slow drinking, like little tiny sips.
Yeah.
And it still
didn't matter.
wasn't staying
Yeah.
down. So
Yeah, I would have been fucking in trouble if I didn't have access to an IV.
yeah,
Because we were going to end up going to like the hospital to get an IV because we knew what it was because I had experienced it before, as Anisa described. But yeah, that, I don't know, very unpleasant. And I need to start drinking fluids. Not fluids, water.
Well, or Gatorade, or
Yeah, true.
You know.
But when I say fluids,
Yeah. It could be in anything.
Yeah.
It could be
I
grog.
should just be drinking grog as a chaser for the martinis.
I will say that I sampled a new flavor that they're gonna have coming out, and it is tasty. But that's all I'm gonna share.
Good.
But yeah, no, you. So that
Yeah, we
took up
tried
a-
grog.
Yeah.
I guess we should talk about
Yeah.
that for a second. Because, I'm trying to, like, hedge off all the questions at the past where I'm like, I'm not sure what people care about.
Yeah, grog is their alcohol that they've.
Yes,
made.
grog is an alcohol that Max and Chad and I guess Cold Ones as a brand has made.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. It's very good. I think it's dangerously good because my opinion is that alcohol that is good tastes the least like alcohol.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I was chugging them things.
Apparently.
Yeah, and they were good. There was zero like kind of when I drink beer, wine, any of those things, hard liquor. There's always like there's always a little bit of a
Even white wine.
even sangria. I'm pretty good with
Sangria, you are pretty.
when there's
you
like
sangria.
more sugar and shit to soften it.
Yeah.
But yeah, grog's super easy to drink, and
What was your favorite flavor? How many flavor did you have? All the.
yeah, I
Flavors?
tried everything.
What's your favorite?
I mean, I like grape. I like that
know.
artificial grape
We're
flavor.
grape heads. Yeah.
That just it works.
Yeah.
But it was all good, and yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much all there is to say about grog. It's an alcoholic beverage. Not available in the U.S. Currently, but I think I don't know. That's a journey that they're gonna have to they're on right now, is figuring all that shit out.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, we're super empathetic, obviously, to like starting something and then realizing once you start it, like, oh,
Yeah.
this is a thing.
Right. Like, oh, I kind of get why people don't do this.
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of get why this happens slowly.
Yeah.
All those sorts of
Stressful.
things.
Which, obviously, yeah. Like, you were either hanging out with them, like, intimately to catch up on time, or you were vomiting, or they were, like, doing work for the brand that they've, the product that they've just built. So, like, the whole cold ones thing, it, like, became very obvious that, like, it wouldn't even be fair to the audience, to be honest, to record something like before you guys like get.
Well, that's specifically what
everything
Max was
out.
saying, was like, this is like way too, like,
Rushed.
we cannot rush something this important.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are looking for like a reunion or something like that's a little bit more nostalgic, and something that's like, I don't know, worth a little bit of like
I would
expectation.
rather a deadly twister or something like. I think that'd be sick.
Yeah.
But like rather than like you guys sitting around and unpreparedly talking.
Well, I do remember there was that like little sad nostalgia thing where it was like a Cold Ones clip of like Max and Chad talking about George or some shit, and it was like it was made into like kind of a depressing, melancholy edit where it's just like, oh no, what happened, kind of thing. Or like, we've grown up, that kind of shit.
Oh, that shit makes me so sad. I mean, it's subjectively also just true though. Like all of you are trying to like.
It's a good lesson, I think, for the younger people who are watching, because it
happens.
legitimately cannot be the way you sort of envision it to be.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we all have the fucking desire that it's like, me and my boys will spend so much time together till the end of time. And it's like, you can try your hardest to like work that out and make that like a reality, but fuck, is that going to like result in a bad time for a lot of other people?
I think it's just more so that like.
Because you need to compromise, right? Like, that's the whole idea, right? Like, you can't, like, when I was hanging out with Chad and Max and George and them in whatever it was, 2016 or 2015, I just said, fuck it. And I was like, all right, I'm going to fucking spend a month or 2 months over there. And it's like, now I got dogs.
Yeah.
Like, at a bare minimum, I got dogs that, like, need my attention.
And I think that's like something that's kind of. Because when dogs don't live very long, and a month, 2 months is like a big portion out of a dog's life. And I have anxiety about that. Like, even when we leave for 2 weeks, I'm like, Blitz is like 9. And so me leaving for 2 weeks is like, I don't know.
That's a lot.
It feels like a lot. And Fiona's like now 3. So we have 2 dogs. Blitz was originally mine. I got him when I was just starting to pop off on streaming in 2014. So he's 9 years old. He's a Boston Terrier. And then we have Fiona, who's a COVID dog. She's a Rottweiler, and she's 3 now. And Rottweilers are like infamously not long-living dogs. And then on top of that,
I wouldn't say infamous. I would say any dogs that are like that big.
Yeah, true. Any dog that's big, that's that big, doesn't live that long. The average lifespan of a Rottweiler is like 8 to 9 years or something like that.
Something like that.
And like
that might be more of like a Great Dane. I
No,
think
no,
they're
no.
like 10 to 12.
No, look it up. Look
I
up.
will.
Look
I
up a Rottweiler.
freaking will.
It's 8 to 9 years. So, and she's 3. And I don't know, man. I don't think I can handle having a big dog after this because they're not around for long enough.
Rottweiler average lifespan 8 to 10 years.
Oh, 8 to 10. Sorry.
So I don't know. It says German Shepherd 9 to 13.
Yeah.
Doberman 10 to 13. So they are a little bit shorter than. It says 8 to 10 years for a Great Dane.
Yeah.
So I will say, I think you were right the first time, infamously.
They're known
As a Great
for...
Dane, it makes sense because they're fucking massive.
Yeah.
But 8 to 10 years for something like as small as a Rottweiler. Yeah.
And she's got medical issues on top of that.
Yeah.
So like there's other things that like when we leave them, there is like a obvious guilt.
Yeah.
So
I do want to take a moment in this podcast. I don't know how long we've been going for, but I think we need to make it a habit to say this is our channel, Maximum Damage, where we have this podcast. Mm-hmm. And we also have another show called The Hot Seat, and that is starring Dax Flame and another guest. And we're uploading a new episode every week for season 2. So if you guys want to check that out, we'd be very grateful. It's different. It's kind of like what were the comparisons? Maybe like Between Two Ferns. Some people say Eric Andre, but it's way more chill than that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, there's that, and
there's a Patreon attached.
There's a Patreon. So I think this is the first time we're going to do it. We're going to make this a long episode. Mm-hmm. We're going to film longer, and the extra uncut or like 30-minute version the extra 30 minutes version is going to go up on Patreon.
Yeah.
So if you guys want that access to that, that's where it's going to be. Uncut, uncensored,
maybe we'll be a bit more loose-lipped.
We might even get more loose-lipped. Talk about some shit that needs censoring. Yeah, so that's that. I'm going to take a hard right turn because there's a lot of topics on my phone, and I feel like if we just like let our gums flap,
I know,
we will never get to them. And some of them aren't particularly important, I will say, but they're important to me.
They're all important.
Okay, so on our trip to Australia, I realized something about myself. When I go into the bathroom, I don't know if I've shared this with you, I have a very shy bladder, specifically when it comes to urinals.
Yeah, I think you've, in passing, shared
shared it, yeah. So, sometimes it's really hard, especially when there's just like a lot of activity. Mm-hmm. I'm like really heightened. I could hear people like strolling in, sauntering, whistling, slapping their buddies on the back as they're passing by each stall. I'm like, I hope they don't slap me on the back. Like just really uncomfortable, like almost like locker room environment sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's it at its worst. If there's a guy next to me, it's also like, whatever. But it's like a compounding effect. If someone pulls in next to me, it's like, okay, I need to regain like composure. And then another guy on the other side of me, I'm like, all right, I need to freaking focus. You need to piss here.
I have to say, this is so fucking strange to me.
Foreign?
Like the idea that I'm convinced that it's like a public shaming, like it's like some weird, like why do men do this to other men, right? Like like men are planning bathrooms for the most. I'm not gonna say all men, but I'm pretty sure like the structure of the bathroom was made
I will say
by men
when I'm saying like guys are coming into the side of me, I'm not saying like the urinal's directly next to me.
No, I understand.
I just mean they're pulling in.
But open piss holes, okay? I'm just saying like I wish I understood the psychology of, because bathrooms are made by men for men, right? The psychology of like letting women
by men for men,
letting women go into little cubicles
and
piss and shit and do whatever, but then not doing that for men. I want to understand the logic because it is strange, and I do know that urinals sometimes are separate, but I've seen.
There's a lot of
troughs.
variations.
I've seen literal piss troughs.
You know what? It might be another tier list video
that's
to rate the different compositions of urinals.
I don't have a shy bladder at all.
Yeah.
Because I had to piss in front of doctors my whole life. A bunch of them.
Okay, so I'm not to where I need to be yet, but we're getting there. Mm-hmm. I've set the scene. I realized that at some point along the line, what worked for me on this trip to get over my shy bladder, not completely. I don't know if you've heard of like the Mind Palace. Have you heard of Mind Palace?
I have.
So like magicians, for those of you who don't know, like magicians and like what are they called? Like thinker. They got like a generic way to describe it. Yeah, maybe mathematicians. Yeah. It's all kind of interlinked. but they have a method of remembering things. You kind of need to make stories. Stories in your head allow you to remember things a lot better. So, like, an example is like, you know, you have a palace in your mind and you know what it looks like and you build it all in your head and you go to it and there's a fucking treasure chest, or I don't know. People can explain it to you. Chris Ramsey, I think he's a magician on YouTube. He does puzzle boxes.
There's too many Ramses.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the financial guy.
Oh, Dave Ramsey? Nah, not that guy. Fuck that guy. But Chris Ramsey has told me about it a few times. But I tried this for my shy bladder, my public urination. Not public. What am I saying? I was like, I need to go to a different place. This is a little bit different than like a memorization thing, but I was like, I need to go to a different place because I'm too distracted. Do you want to know where I went?
Cuddling with Fiona. No, that wouldn't make you want to piss. That's weird.
That's weirdly close.
Really?
Yeah. I wouldn't, not cuddling with anyone.
Oh, okay. Talking to Blitz.
Shrek's Swamp. Yeah, Shrek's Swamp. That's where I went. And by God, it fucking worked. As soon as I imagined that I was in Shrek's Swamp, I was like, holy fuck, like everything else disappeared around me. I was like, this is working. And then, like, I forgot it last time I went into the bathroom at the airport.
Yeah.
And then it, like, dawned on me as I was, like, sitting there struggling. And I was like, oh, Shrek's Swamp. And just everything fucking just became quiet.
It's so hard for me to believe that
that was a thing.
Like you didn't write this.
I did not fucking write this. I knew that I needed to explain it, and it would be fucking funny.
Yeah.
But
is
no.
this like a segue into the Apple conversation?
Apple conversation.
Yeah, because I remember you wanted to. Because for me, just for me, my brain doesn't visualize anything. Mm-hmm. So the concept of you.
Oh, no, this isn't meant to. But that's interesting. I didn't know that you thought I was. Yeah, because the Apple conversation is on my list as well. Yeah, okay.
Because so you're talking about envisioning things and seeing things and going. I've heard people talk about specifically when I was like trying to study for. I know this is gonna sound really stupid, but art history tests in university are like some of the hardest fucking tests to write because you're asked to memorize all these different works of art from different time periods and like what material it was made out of, why it was made, historically what was happening at the time, like the period. And then you have to like, you do all these multiple choice and then you have to write an essay at the end. Mm-hmm. So they pick two different works of art from, it could be completely different places. And then you have to write an essay arguing something using those two pieces. So basically they give you a list of 200 works of art, and then they say you better memorize all of these because you don't know which one's going to be on this test.
All right.
So I was really stressed, and I had a lot. I majored in it, so I had, you know,
that's a really bad one for someone like you.
Really, really bad for me. And so I had someone, I tried to go to someone who could help me study, and they did the Mind Palace thing. And I thought that they were like just talking out of their ass because I couldn't imagine a world where I could envision
things.
Envision anything, let alone an intricate house.
Yeah.
Right. So I've also had a therapist do it to me for storing trauma that I can't like let go of. And it's so hard for me.
Okay. So
we should talk about what the Apple thing is first, I feel like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was just going to say, like, for those of you who haven't heard of it, it's been making the rounds over the past year, the idea of, like, being able to picture things in your head. And the example that they're using is, like, an apple, in this case, in this common, like, meme format. It's not a meme, it's just an image. But it shows, like, different stages of or different versions of what people might be able to picture in their head. And on one end of the spectrum, you have someone like Anisa, based on her description, that there's like nothing going on in there. There's no visuals at all. I also saw that, what's his name? John Green also tweeted out about it and said like, oh yeah, picturing things, what the hell is this shit?
Yeah.
Also nothing. And I'm on the spectrum, on the completely other end of the spectrum where it's like, the apple can literally be whatever the fuck I want it to be.
That's insane.
3D, photorealistic, undulating. I'm picturing it right now as I'm saying it to you. It's
fun.
split in half. There's a worm coming out of it. Whatever the fuck I want it to be, it can be.
Why do you watch movies? If you can just do all that shit in your head, make your own movies.
Well, that's what daydreaming is.
What?
That's literally what daydreaming is. I'll be sitting in the fucking classroom, right? Like I don't.
Do you know
I
what?
think some people call it ADHD, or I'm not sure what people would classify it as. But I was like in school picturing like me having different like X-Men powers and like what I would how I'd fucking chop people up with my claws or like.
Do you know what daydreaming is for me?
Huh.
It's like everything going blurry, like around me, my surroundings, and then music that I remember playing in my head. That's
disassociating? Is that what you're describing?
I literally thought that's what that was.
No.
I
That is interesting. No, daydreaming is just like using your imagination, kind of.
I can use my imagination, but not to see things.
Okay, I have a test for you because I have a theory that I'm probably wrong on this theory, so I'll just put it out there. I'm curious how many people in the audience actually this phenomenon happens to them. I guess lack of phenomenon. I don't know what it is.
I'm so scared of what this test is.
So you say your position is that you cannot picture anything in your head.
No. There's not.
So what happens when you think back to like memories as an example?
Extreme feelings.
So like when we went on the cruise,
Yeah.
right? Can you picture generally what like the pool area looked like in your head?
No, I could. No. I can tell you that there were a lot of waves in the pool, but not because I can see that. It's what I have stored in my memory as a thing, right?
Interesting.
So the hot tub was not hot, and there were a lot of waves in the pool.
So weird.
That's like what my memory will tell you. I can't tell you what.
Okay, what about this?
Okay.
What about this? Dudley looked a lot like Uncle Vernon. He had a large pink face, not much neck, small, watery blue eyes, and thick blonde hair that lay smoothly on his thick, fat head.
Yes.
You just pictured something.
No, but
No?
I understand what the thing is. Like it's hard to explain.
But you can picture it if you want to.
No. I know that it's a blonde boy, right? So if somebody shares information with me,
So wait, you know what a blonde boy looks like, though?
it doesn't happen in my head. If I look at someone, I go, you're blonde. I know that you're blonde, but I'm not thinking of a blonde wig rotating in my head 360 or whatever.
Well, you just described, and that popped in my head. I'm picturing a fucking blonde wig rotating.
I know that's what you do, but I absorbed the...
Is that bad writing then, do you think? Because in my whatever fucking 7th grade class or whatever it is, we did like a specific section on like descriptive writing.
Yeah.
Where like we're describing like visual details a lot of the time and like almost overemphasizing them.
I don't think that's bad writing. I think like I still am getting
an idea.
Yeah, it's a figurative picture. It's not a literal picture, but I figuratively, like, I understand this is a greasy fat boy with like slicked blonde hair, right? Like I understand.
There was no mention of grease.
Okay, well, like I thought you said when somebody says slick, I imagine it is a greasy boy, right?
There's no mention of slick.
Okay,
Lay
well,
smoothly on his thick, fat head.
Well, whatever.
I guess that would be slick.
Yeah, but like the point being is like I think like some people can read that and have a vision in their head. When I read books, it is I live life.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this makes sense based on her personality and how I've figured that you have like lived your life. When you describe things to me, it's is a lot visual. Of feelings.
Yeah.
Like I'll get a lot of our conversations in the past. I don't know if this is related, but a lot of our like arguments in the past have been based on not a lot, some have been based on this idea where Anisa is describing the way that she is feeling, and she'll use like what I would consider false or like objectively like lying, but like I would be like, you're lying to me based on what you're saying, and she's not like, I'm not lying, that's the way it makes me feel. And then but her way of describing the way it makes her feel is by using these like objectively like incorrect thing.
I'm
not
trying
incorrect,
to
but like
put you
in your
to
shoes to see what. Yes.
But my seeing is like when I have dreams or when I'm reading something, it's almost like I'm trying to figure out how to describe it. I'm feeling what the person is feeling, the observations that they are making.
Right.
I'm not like a removed person or like visually thinking about.
Yeah.
It's like it's experiencing like my memories, and my memories are like I can feel very hard. Like if I were to like put myself back in like being a kid that was like hiding under my covers because like I had a really bad day at school. Like nothing of that is visual, but it's like very vivid feelings.
Wow. That for me is just like the polar opposite.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It is like all visual and like zero feeling.
I can't. Yeah, like I feel like I could almost transport myself back there.
Weird.
Feeling wise.
Weird.
But not visually. I can't remember. And that's I also think why I have a hard time with faces.
Yeah.
Because I don't.
Right.
not
For those of
really
you who don't know, Anisa is face blind.
I have a really bad
That will
time.
probably be a common theme that you guys will learn.
Ian made fun of me for thinking that
Jim Carrey.
I thought Jim Carrey and Ryan Reynolds were the same person.
Oof. Couldn't be.
I don't.
I shouldn't say couldn't be more different. But
They're
yeah, their faces for me are just like
he thought I was joking. We were like watching
two
a
ends
movie.
of the spectrum. Yeah.
We were watching a movie and a trailer came on and I was like, what?
She's looking at Green Lantern, played by Ryan Reynolds, and she's like, whoa, Jim Carrey Green Lantern? That's kind of cool.
He thought I was joking.
That's kind of a cool idea.
I can't
How'd they
remember.
come up with that?
I did another one too, but it's not on purpose.
Okay, wait. Oh, I want to ask Dane. Dane, which of us do you relate to as far as the picturing things in your head goes?
I relate to Ian the most.
Oh, shit.
Team men.
When you said Apple, I literally imagined like almost like a video game item, Apple rotating,
I don't
Yes,
understand.
like a really high quality like PS5
My,
Apple.
Yeah. Like specifically one that was like made in Blender or something.
Yeah.
I'm now understanding why I, in like art school, had to like draw, like if it was a still life, I did great. But if somebody was like, draw a dog, I can't do that.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah. So
But it is cool that at least there is an aspect that is visual for your like processing.
I can. You learn
like the still life, I mean.
in art, right? When you're learning traditional art, you learn to not look at your paper. You're supposed to follow visually what you're looking at. You're not actually supposed to look at the paper.
Right.
So when I'm doing that, I'm actually just
Yeah.
like directly relaying information. But if I were to like look at it and then look away and do it,
Right.
it's really hard.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate like the still life stuff.
I
When I
love
was in
that
art
shit.
class, that was the thing I despised. I was like, I do not want to like fucking translate this to paper. It does not make me feel good.
The crazy thing about that is like values, like any value work, any color work, I was amazing at it. And I
Right.
could with color study and values, I was very good at playing with it and redigesting what I was directly looking at. But I could not do it once I was removed from the subject.
Yeah. Oh, what is your so I assume that like an audiobook or something like that,
Oh yeah.
that's not like evoking pictures and stories in your. I mean, I guess it is, but it's not visual.
It's
Or
not
you don't
visual, it's
consider it
feelings.
visual.
Like I could
That's so hard. The nuance between like visual and not, because when I say visual and Dane says visual, it's like I think we would admit that it's not really a a visual thing per se. It's like it's close, but it's not quite visual. It's more visual than any other sense that we can describe, but it is in our like, I don't know.
I think the fact that he was able to say PS5 quality like Apple, that to me is so beyond
PS2?
anything, or PS2, whatever Dane
PS5.
said. Whatever Dane said, that is so beyond what, like, that has to be visual. Like the fact that you can like if you say Apple to me,
I guess so.
I
Yeah. I guess what I mean to say, it's the visual part of our brain, probably, but not our literal eyes.
yeah, which I get. Like I
Yeah.
get.
But I can imagine in the real world, like AR, I can imagine AR, an Apple, or like someone twerking on the table right now in front of
What?
us. Can you imagine someone twerking on the table in
No,
front of us?
I can no. I mean, like I could imagine the scenario. Like that would be a crazy scenario if someone got up and started.
It is
twerking on
so hard to believe because it is so anti my reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like Ian's theory that like no one is allistic.
Yeah.
Ian believes that no one
I
no
believe
one
that
enjoys
no one
social
is-
activities.
yes.
No one enjoys going out to like water parks and like all that shit. Ian's like, that's all fake. Parties, socializing, all fake.
The
Nobody
way you're
likes to.
describing is like a little bit less compelling. I think there's details that
You think people have convinced themselves that they like it, but no one actually
Right.
likes it.
and well, like I like your example of a water park. Like I like a water park.
You like water parks?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I
didn't
like
know.
going down slides and stuff.
You
don't
don't.
like-
You if you were in a crowded water park, it would take you about 5 minutes to want to leave.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But there's a lot of people who love water parks regardless. Of,
Oh, this is a good example,
Mm-hmm.
a good segue, because I want to talk about icks.
Oh.
Okay.
okay.
So, an ick that you came up with, or maybe we saw online, was like waiting in line at a water park. Or
Yeah, we
something
saw
like
that online.
We saw that one online. Okay. Man, that one's crazy. Because, like, I relate to that from the perspective of, like, being a guy waiting in line at
Right.
a water park.
Like you knew subconsciously that women around you were getting the ick.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like unless you're like an absolute no, even if you're a unit, even if you're some giant fucking muscular dude,
I think it's
like
worse. if you're a
waiting in
muscular
line.
dude.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's worse.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing at the water park?
Yeah.
You shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be waiting in line.
Yeah,
Go
you
in the
should be
fucking circular pool.
Punching someone or
Yeah.
something right now.
Yeah, that's actually, to be honest, if you're at the water park, go to one that has a lazy river and just, I think that's where you need to stay.
That's how you avoid the ick.
Yeah, but it's also the gross. That is like a physical ick being in
Yeah.
the fucking lazy river. There's like turds floating down that. That's a dangerous place
really?
to be in. Yeah,
Have you ever witnessed one?
I think so. Yeah, the lazy river's like the place that everyone and their mom goes, from my
To take
experience,
a dump?
to just exist. You know what I mean? It's actually big. I want to say it's a white people culture. Because I did it a little bit growing up, or it was a little bit part of my upbringing is
Yeah.
like going to the river.
That is, I think that might be white people culture because I had a friend who would take me like camping.
Yeah.
And that's it. They would just like float on the
Down
river.
a river. That's
Yeah.
just so weird. I have vague memories now that I'm talking about it. It's all like coming back to me. I remember loving this like inner tube that I had because this inner tube came with like a squirt gun attachment or whatever. So like this is my little
machine gun.
car.
Little-
It's
oh,
like my little
true.
like tank or whatever.
Yeah.
So I could be on the lazy river. I have like as much autonomy as anyone else on the river, and I have a gun. Like this is sick as fuck.
Like typical American.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. I think the other Americans can relate. Amazing. But
I wonder if I want to ask the viewers like to comment like if like lazy boy, not lazy boy,
Lazy river?
lazy river, or like lounging on a river in an inner tube, if that's white culture or not.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it's American culture.
Oh, it could be American.
I do.
No. Well, North American culture. I
Yeah,
guess.
North American. Yeah, it includes Canada, some
Yeah.
parts of Mexico. Saying some parts of Mexico is like, what the fuck? Where? Where in Mexico? Find me a place.
But yeah, so icks. There was the slide.
Yeah. So, yeah, waiting in line, because here's the thing: like, you are fully exposed in
have
such a
nothing
way
to
that
do.
you're not used to being exposed.
Yeah.
Fully, not fully naked, but you just have your drawers on. You're presumably sopping wet.
And cold.
Sopping wet
Yeah.
and cold
Yeah.
is like even more vulnerable.
Yeah.
And that's what I think of every time is like a wet dog waiting to get dried before coming into the house.
You know
that's
what's
what I
crazy,
feel like I
though?
am waiting in that line.
As you're talking about this, the reverse, a woman waiting, I think is the opposite. I think men think that that's hot. For the same thing, opposite effect. I think it's like she's cold, she needs to be protected.
Maybe.
She's vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's like almost like because we've been trained.
I wouldn't say fully opposite because I have. Oh, do you want to continue?
No. I was just gonna ask, like, so you being
I don't.
honest, you don't find it like kind of
It's better than the man.
Okay.
So that's where I'm at with it because I think a lot of the icks and what like people define as an ick, it's funny because it's like it's incredibly gendered.
Yes.
And it's like that's like entirely what it's based on.
And
is
it feels like it's-
what has a woman done, and if
Yeah.
a man does that,
Yeah.
it is now potentially an ick.
I would also extend that to, does it make the man look vulnerable?
Yes.
If it makes the man look vulnerable, ick.
Yes, exactly. If does it make the woman look in charge, responsible, dominant?
Yeah.
It is now
An
potentially
ick.
an ick for
Which
men.
is why women pulling pranks on men is an ick.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
That's what that
I hadn't
is.
heard that one. Women pulling pranks.
That's
Did
your
I say
ick.
that? Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
said that.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Women pulling
Hell
pranks,
yeah.
you said was an ick, and I think patting on the back.
Yeah, patting on the back.
Which,
Yeah.
would line up, though.
Uh-huh.
Because we've been conditioned
100%.
that, men being vulnerable is icky,
Mm-hmm.
and women being cunty boss bitches is icky.
Yeah.
So we all have to, what we're saying is we all have to get over our icks because men are allowed to be vulnerable, and
Yes.
it should be
And
attractive.
it's funny.
And-
Once you
yeah.
let your guard down and you're like, okay, this isn't this doesn't define a person or a gender. Like, you're good. Like, it's
Yeah.
cool. It's a funny moment. Anisa has her boss moments where she's dominant.
I'm cringe sometimes.
Yeah.
Also, my personal ick.
She did fucking men's sports
That's
growing up.
true. Yeah.
Literally played on men's teams.
Yeah, I know.
If that ain't an ick, I don't know what is. But I actually think it's cool.
I burped and freaking sweated and
Yeah.
shitted.
Yeah. With all your fellow
Fellow men.
men.
I said, "What's up,
You were
fellow
like, bring
men?"
it up top, big boy.
Hey, big buddy.
You call him little boy.
Oh,
little
yeah.
boy.
Yeah, little boy. Give me a high five.
Don't get your
little
peck
boy.
in a twist, little boy.
I wish I talked like that.
Yeah.
I think I would have gotten more respect, to be honest.
True.
The ick for me specifically, which I'm ashamed of, I think it's very sad that I have this ick, is being the popcorn in the popcorn on the trampoline crack the egg.
Yeah. Being the egg and crack
Being the egg and crack
That is
the egg.
so
That still
obvious,
makes me
though.
laugh.
That one's funny, though, because it's more nuanced gendered, right? There are ones that are, very obvious and ones that are way more nuanced.
I actually argue that that's worse nuance, though, because what you're saying is that the man
Crack me open.
Yeah, the man that's is willing to put himself in that position. He's brave enough to put himself in that position, and is being the fun thing to be picked on. He's saying literally pick on me.
Yeah.
And the other men are picking on him, and I'm gross. That's bad. That's not good because that I would argue that's worse nuance, to be honest, because you're enforcing an alpha.
True.
This
a
alpha
weird alpha dynamic.
mentality.
That is interesting. I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's unfair.
I was also thinking in terms of childhood games or whatever, is is it called chicken fighting or something, where you put one person on your shoulders in the pool? Mm-hmm. And I feel like if you're a guy
And you're
that's
the chicken.
ever on the top,
Yeah.
you're not
I know. The people have
big man.
decided that that's the woman.
right.
The woman is up top.
Right.
And even if it was two men, the man that's on top,
Right.
it's been gendered. which is kind
We
of
need to reverse that. We need to throw a fucking pool party.
yeah.
And we need to get some long, lanky, skinny little boys.
Yeah.
And have the big
Men.
buff, horny
Skinny
men
little-
on top.
Huh?
On top.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
We have to have the pool full enough that their weight can be supported, that physics helps.
Oh, okay. Physics is going to give them a little boost.
Yeah. But not so high that it drowns.
Yeah, I kind of like that idea.
Yeah. Maybe give them snorkels.
Right?
Oh.
Really elongated snorkel.
Yeah. It can make that like a whole event. Maybe that'll be the next Creator Clash.
No way. Okay, so along the lines of this, if no one knows what an ick is, I feel like we've like fully defined it at this point. It's essentially a feeling that you get when watching. It doesn't necessarily have to be the opposite gender, right? Like if you're a gay man and you're watching.
Well, whoever you're sexually attracted to.
Right.
Whatever gender you're sexually attracted to, if they're doing something that's mundane or something that like everybody does, and it gives you the ick, which is this feeling of repulsion.
Yeah.
Of like, which by the way, so the egg one is like gendered, but I have to be honest, I do have an ick that is like for both genders universally, and that's the butt crack ick.
Oh, when they're butt craps. When they're butt craps. Oh, you're talking about when they're butt craps? Yeah, I hate that. I don't like that at all. When butts crap? No. Nasty.
The butt crack peeking out the pants.
I totally agree. That shit is gross.
Yeah.
Although, I will say, if it's a woman and it's covered
like
by
with a thong, that's fine.
Yeah.
That
okay.
even like a man underwear covering like
The
you know,
crack.
if it's just like their underwear.
That's true. Because it just
fine.
feels like you're not a messy person.
Yeah.
You've accounted for it. It's like
you
you're
have
aware
underwear on.
that there is a breeze going past your fucking cheeks.
Yeah.
Like pull up your underwear or
Yeah,
whatever.
at least. But the crack for me, it's game over. I have related to women. I've seen women online and men. I haven't seen men say this, but they should. If you're on a first date and the butt crack comes out, I think you're allowed. To
leave.
call it.
Yeah. Oh, to call it. Oh, yeah.
To call
I thought you
it.
meant to call it out. That butt crack's out.
Like, I think you're allowed to call it there.
Right.
Like maybe not like abruptly, maybe not be like foul, your ass cracks out, like I gotta go. But like you're allowed to like leave the date at the end and be like, I'm not calling.
Never
this person
talk.
again.
Yeah.
Like if you get ghosted, I mean.
I will say though that is interesting because I think maybe the rule I want to come up with for icks specifically is what defines an ick is it has to be gendered to some.
Oh, you think so?
I think so.
But what if you're bisexual?
It just applies to that. Yeah, it doesn't
Okay.
null and void.
Okay, so you're saying like there's like
Because I think it directly is related to our socialization of how we perceive genders.
Okay,
and
yeah,
roles
yeah,
of
yeah,
people.
yeah. No, that's fair.
Yeah.
You should make a gender study class about ick.
That's a good ass
You
idea.
should become a professor.
That's a good crapping idea.
That's a good butt crapping idea that you just came up with.
Yeah. Okay, so I came up with an ick when we were in Australia.
Was it me? Did I give you an ick?
No, I gave it to myself.
Really?
Yes. Okay, this one's interesting because it's a two-parter.
Okay.
Half of it is an ick for women, and half of it is an ick for men.
Okay.
And I'm going to demonstrate it.
Oh no, I'm scared.
Okay. No, it's fine.
Okay.
If it's bad,
We're
we can
married.
cut it out.
No, it's fine. We're married. So
We are married.
No matter what ick you give me, I can't leave.
Yeah, okay. I don't have a lot of room to demonstrate it.
I'm really scared.
I wonder if I'll be able to be seen on the wide.
Don't move my camera.
I'm going to take these off. I'm going to see if you can tell me what it is.
You're gonna like
okay?
shit yourself or something.
Oh, wait, no. That's not quite right. It's something like... Okay, that's part one.
Okay.
This is part two. Okay, two-parter.
That gave you the ick?
Yeah. The taking...
You've
The-
done that before.
What?
You've done that exact thing.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I know. That's just how I'm taking off my pants. I'm just saying that this is like depending on how difficult it is to get the pants up, these fit me pretty well.
Yeah.
Like, think of like a pair of jeans that you're squeezing into type meme. There's like a visual, and I saw it in the mirror when I was putting it on, where I was like, fuck, this is something. There's something to this. When you want to pull up pants and you're doing it with you don't want to go through the effort of unbuttoning and unzipping so it goes on smooth and easy. You just want to pull these over. But you're kind of chunky and you can't do that too well.
I was gonna say I've never been able to do that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I do that. And I feel like that's an ick.
Okay. Yeah.
For men. I don't
Okay.
think it's an ick for women.
I was gonna say that's so fascinating because I think there's something very attractive about a woman's ass being so fat that she's like struggling to like get her pants into her ass into her pants.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
And,
and
like-
that's fine. And trying to I think we have this perception through media and everything that women are the ones who need to change their clothes frequently.
True.
Because they're doing things.
True. And they're
right?
the ones with big butts.
And big asses.
Yeah.
Right?
So
Or
if you're a man,
big asses and the additional detail that they're not fat. Right? So they don't have to unbutton it. You do all this fucking deal with all this hardware, taking off the big belts. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think we've watched different porn
Media?
gifs or something.
Yeah, probably.
Because I feel like women trying to put pants on is
Is-
specifically like a thing
No, yes, I agree that that's a thing.
with the pants undone.
It could be that as well. It's not a perfect
Okay.
representation.
Okay.
Right?
But men, you're
There's
saying
the
men
things-
struggling to pull their pants up without undoing them
yes.
is an ick.
I think that's an ick.
because it seems lazy that they're not undoing their
No, just because you have to undulate your fucking cheeks and your hips and everything, you have to do a move
True.
to pull your pants up.
you feel like it feminizes
It feminizes you because
you're shaking ass.
I'm shaking ass when I'm doing that. And I'm moving my body in such a provocative way.
Right. And men are not the provocative.
Yes. We're not the
Object.
provocateurs.
Yeah, which is again, I want to put a disclaimer. We put this in all
Yeah.
videos. We're talking about socialization and the overall idea that people have
Yes.
that we've universally accepted or have,
Yes.
not that
We're
we
fighting
believe
against it.
Yeah.
I would like it if men and women both put on their pants in
Could
whichever way
undulate.
they want.
shake ass.
I hope
At any
I
time.
hope that all men can undulate their asses in the future and not be seen as
I feel hella feminist right now
Whatever.
because when you shake your ass, I think it's awesome.
that's badass.
Yeah.
Bring it in.
I like it when you're trying to get your freaking ass in.
And then the pants taking off kind of in the same manner.
Yeah, that does give me the ick,
Okay.
but not because it feminizes you.
Or not putting on.
Taking them off.
Okay, I mean the putting them on.
Because that seems childlike.
Yeah.
Like when you're not undoing your pants and you're
Right.
"Yoop," and you're just slipping them off your body. That to me, I'm it's not I'm not my eyebrow isn't being raised,
Yeah.
But it's more like a,
Okay, cool. I think I've learned some things. I'm gonna hit the notebook after this and jot what I've learned down. Okay. So, do you feel like that covers today's episode of Ick?
yeah, I think I maybe just putting a hat on it of if you have icks, reflect on why you're having the ick and maybe just try and be a bit more fair because I
Right.
think things like icks are what reinforce very unhealthy ideas of gender roles that we should not have.
Yes. I guess classic example of an ick, to be honest, and the most absurd example is literally men eating anything phallic.
I know, or
It's
there was
you do not have to pull off a piece of banana until
Yeah.
it's no longer phallic.
actually
and
I
eat
would
it like that.
argue an even worse version of that is the weirdos that say that men can't drink out of straws.
Yeah, super weird. Super
That's
weird.
a really weird
Yeah.
one. So I think that these are the types of things that do shame a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
especially men, into not being able to behave
Right.
as a human
I
being.
think what you should think of is you should get like maybe a male role model in your head who's like, oh man, he's the coolest, you know, whether that be Robert Pattinson, Dwayne The Rock,
Robert De Niro.
even Andrew Tate if you want to, if that's what you require.
True.
Picture them sucking out of a straw,
Yeah.
right? You don't have to like envision them like pursing their lips an incredible amount.
Just imagine they're
and
talking
sucking
to
as
you.
hard as they can.
And as you're telling a good story, they're like, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Casual.
Casual.
You know? Maybe it's a whiskey with a little straw.
Yeah. There you
A
go.
little Robert De Niro suck.
Oh, that's pretty good.
not a
I
bad
kind of
thing.
knew you were being Robert De Niro in that moment.
Perfect. Because his face kind of just does that. That's literally the base face for any Robert De Niro impression, I think.
Look up Samuel L. Jackson's drinking out of a straw in Pulp Fiction.
Really?
Oh. Okay.
Oh no, I'm scared. Oh no, it's a good example.
This is
It's
a
fucking
good example
cool.
of like a masculine way to drink out of a straw, I think.
Okay.
You'll see what I mean.
I'm so curious.
Yeah, I'm picturing he does some bizarre shit.
I think it's just
I'm
going to be
not
a,
trolling you, I swear.
Okay.
like out the side of his mouth or some shit.
Wait, out of the like
Soda.
the soda. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
That's sexy.
Yeah.
I've seen that photo so many times. You can drink out of a straw sexy.
You
I
can
mean-
drink out of a straw sexy.
But if you're thinking about it, it doesn't become sexy anymore.
True.
So just drink out of the straw and you look sexy.
yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
The sexiest thing is to
Not care.
not care.
Confidence.
And to not
Confidence.
be thinking about what is the best way to be sexy.
Yeah. That's how you become
Yes.
It's like when you think too much about being funny, you become not funny. When you think too much about being sexy, you become unsexy. Mm-hmm. And I've learned that through trying to take selfies. hard way.
It is true though. That's
Yeah.
like a great example in general of just being on camera.
Mm-hmm.
It just puts it in your head. Like if you want to see how any of these like internal ideas you have play out in the real world
Film yourself.
when you're trying, just film yourself and see how fucking unnatural it is and how cringe it is.
Mm-hmm. Just exist.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing I would like to talk about, bring it back to Australia, is the plane ride and
God.
everything kind of associated with that.
Yeah.
We did a layover in San Francisco, so that was only a couple hours from Seattle to San Francisco. And then San Francisco to Melbourne was 15 hours.
Yeah.
That is a hellish flight, especially if you're doing I don't know what it would be like to do like business or first class on those planes because I've never done that. I've done it in like short flights where people seem to not care. It's like, oh yeah, 2-hour flight to California, sure. First class seat for $100, awesome. But yeah, it was super bad.
Not the
Super bad
movie.
flight. What's that?
Huh?
What'd you say?
said
Oh, not
not
the
the
movie. Okay.
Sorry.
And when we were, because we wanted to get to the airport early, and this time when we went to the airport, we did something that we haven't done before. We entered the Centurion Lounge.
Which is, I'm mad that we didn't figure that out sooner, to be
Yes.
honest.
It's depressing.
Yeah, because they just have like a buffet.
They have so much good food. They had like these little revitalizing, immune boosting,
Ian loves
Shots.
those. You love those so much.
which like cost $5 at like a Whole Foods, but this place just puts them all out for you.
Yep.
If I knew about the Centurion Lounge, because I've had this stupid fucking Amex card for over a year, maybe a couple years at this point, and I was like, yeah, it gets good points. Or whatever. I don't know. Fucking game developer Justin told me to get it. And I was like, sure, all right. You know the drill. I know
like
the
how
drill.
We have so many Justins in our lives
Yeah.
that like we have to put like
Yeah.
prefixes.
Right.
Game developer Justin.
But game developer Justin told me about it, and I was like, cool. I get like 100,000 points just for signing up. This is awesome. And I've never used like any of the like benefits that come out of it. If we use the benefits from this card to just go into the Centurion Lounge, then we probably would have saved like $1,000.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Like,
I mean,
probably a crazy amount of money
I'm very thankful
on that alone.
that we figured that out because we showed up to the airport like 3 hours early.
Yeah.
There was something crazy, like 3 hours early. And then the flight there was like way worse because we were taxied on the tarmac for like an hour on the flight from San Francisco to Melbourne. So the 15-hour flight turned into a 16-hour flight. And then everybody has their like thing. My thing is like when the thing that gives me a bit of peace is like eating food. I'm one of those people. And the trays that we had going there were broken. They were like slanted down. And they give you these plastic trays that are like the perfect material to just like slide off of the plastic tray. So like you can't eat it. Like you can't. I want to be able to zone out and be in my like little peaceful like you know,
just munch away.
Just munch away and not think about it. But like we had to like balance these fucking trays. And the feeding times are
feeding times like we're animals in a zoo. We are though. We are.
Because like they're crazy far apart.
Yeah.
You get breakfast or whatever an hour after leaving.
And then
an hour before landing, you get a dinner or whatever, breakfast, whatever, lunch.
Yeah.
And then they give you one little tiny baby sandwich. So you're on this plane for like, we were on there for like 16 hours. And like, our feeding times were so far apart. And I was just like, this is hell.
Times.
And then the whole time you're thinking, like, I have to do this on the way back.
Yeah. I wish they just came through and they just said, feeding time. And they had like, you know, one of those frost. No, I was thinking, oh yeah, that. What are those things pastry people use to squirt out fondant to decorate things with? Pastry bag.
Yeah, a pastry bag.
A pastry bag full of a slurry.
Oh.
Right?
And you just open up your mouth like a baby bird.
Yeah, and they just squirt it into you.
I wouldn't like that if I had a seatmate.
Yeah, true.
Because that's too intimate to be around a random seatmate.
The rule is you have to waterfall it. Like, you can't wrap your lips around it. That's a big no-no. But some foreigners will do that. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
What?
Like, they don't speak English, so if you...
Yeah, they don't know the rules.
So if you
they
say
do it.
waterfall it...
I don't know. Every airline's different.
Okay. So some are waterfall it. Some are like, they have like little like bags that you put on your lips.
Something like that. Yeah, oh, yeah, I like that.
Cross-contaminate.
Yeah, and they pull it off for the next one. Yeah, that's a good idea. We should patent that.
No.
How long has it been, Dane?
Hour 10.
Hour 10.
Holy crap.
Okay, I think this is a good place to call it for the usuals.
Oh, the usual. The normies.
The normies. The public.
Patreon.
Urinators.
The Shrek Swamp.
No.
Urinators.
That's the private people in Patreon. These guys are public. We're private swamp people. So thank you so much for watching this episode of She Ruined My Career.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's what we're calling it.
Yeah.
And if you want to watch the full uncut extended one that's going to be longer, subscribe to the Patreon. That's where it's going to be. Thank you.
Hasta la vista.